All right, we are back for another push day. Um, normally starting off with the pec fly as my first movement. Um, in this workout specifically, I wanted to focus a little bit more on form. So I wasn't going too heavy with the weight. I wasn't going to like my normal working sets, like 235 on pec fly. Like around there, I think I got around to 200 for my working set. See how that felt. I really wasn't trying to keep I was trying to keep my chest as puffed as possible, as kind of puffed up, and with a slight arc to keep it puffed up. Um, my form does collapse. You can kind of see that, but other than that, yeah, that's just how it is. Um, Normally, you can see when I start using like making my arms meet rather than actually extending them out in front of me like that. But other than that, yeah, I did some drop sets as well, two drop sets. So in total, I did um, two sets to about failure with drop sets as well. And yeah, that's it for pec flies. Moving on to incline. This time I set the incline to 45 degrees, which is the sweet spot when it comes to doing any incline press. There have been, I remember a Jeff Nippert study. He actually researched how much upper pec activation, and honestly, you could get away with just doing 15% on an incline. 30% and 45% are literally only numbers, like very few numbers in difference. I believe it was about 50% upper pec activation on 15%, then it jumps up to like 60 something, and then 60 something else as well for 45 degrees. But yeah, in this one I try to keep my form. As you can see, I wasn't trying to keep too much of an arch, but there was a slight arch as well. Um, we also did, or I also did two drop sets as well. Kind of close to failure, but not really, because honestly, I just don't like hitting failure when I'm doing any kind of bench movement. So yeah. Um, what else can I say? Oh yeah, in this I was also trying to keep my elbows as tucked in as possible as well, and of trying to avoid that elbow flare that a lot of people tend to do, so I can feel more of my upper pec. Um, but yeah, other than that, that's the end of this one as well. All right, moving on to single arm tricep extension. Again, focusing more on form for this one. The camera got extremely clear for some reason. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I think it was just because of the shade. The shade, but yeah. I'm trying to not keep my shoulder from moving to bias more of the long head. As you can see, I try to keep my shoulder in place without moving it too much and keeping my elbow as tucked far back as I can just to feel more of that long head engagement. Um, Again, 2 sets to failure. I also believe I did some drop sets as well. Um, but yeah, just trying to keep my upper arm or my shoulders from moving. Um, But yeah, again, just 2 sets to failure, drop sets. That's all I needed to do for that, just to bias the long head. So, uh, yeah, not much else going on here either. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Moving on to machine seated dips. To another 2 sets to failure. In this specific set, the weight was just way too light, so I just bumped it up. I think that's kind of what messed me up. Maybe made me a little bit more tired, but yeah, it wasn't. It's not too terrible. I think this was my warm. I don't know if this was my warm up set. It doesn't look like it. Maybe it is, but yeah. Um, I don't really like doing this machine that often. I actually hate this machine. I feel I don't know if I feel it more in my lateral and medial heads. It's just what I want, but um, yeah. I was going to do JM press. That was taken, and I didn't want to stay on the cables for too long, so I just moved on to over here. And the actual other weighted dip machine, the seated weighted dip machine, that one was also taken. So I had to settle for this just for the medial and lateral heads. A thing I didn't notice is that you can actually kind of see my forearm vein, which is actually very nice. It's very subtle, but you can actually kind of see it, and I actually really like that. So I'm really happy about that because I have been on this cut for about a month now, a little over a month now. So I'm glad to actually see some veins starting to show, um, other than like the two ones like right where my elbow is, like where you bend your arm right between the bicep and the forearm. So yeah, enough yapping. Let set continue. All right, and last but not least, we have um, lateral raises. Now, I actually was able to figure out how to get a better feel of my side delt. Now, my biggest issue for the longest time has been um, just getting my right side delt to activate, and rather than my traps taking over, my upper back taking over. So I was actually able to figure it out by just keeping my arm and keeping a little away from the chest support and just keeping my arm like really, really back and like down. I was like, here's the song I was listening to because I couldn't figure out what to listen to. This is the last movement as well. I believe I did 2 sets or 3 sets, I believe, till fail. Oh, sorry, till failure. But yeah, I didn't record my other side because you couldn't really see anything. So here's the back view. Um, Other than that, though, yeah, this is the last one. The reason why this was the last one is because the gym was going to close in about like 20 minutes, and also I was running out of space on the camcorder itself, so I needed to free up space before I could actually record. Anyways, video's almost over, so thank you for watching, and have a good day, good evening, good evening, good morning, and good night. Yeah.